There are men who lead nations, and there are men who own them from the shadows. He was born in a slum with no father, no future, and no name the world cared to remember. But behind his silence was a mind sharper than any bullet. He wasn't elected. He wasn't loved. But he controlled everything: the army, the drugs, the press, even the CIA. His name was whispered in prisons, in palaces, in war rooms and jungles. Manuel Noriega. To some, he was an ally. To others, a monster. But to those who knew the truth, he was something far more dangerous. This is not just the story of a dictator. It's the story of a man who sold his soul to everyone, and paid the price when no one would buy it back. The Devil's Double, the untold rise and fall of Manuel Noriega. In Panama City, 1955. The rain came down like judgment. The narrow alleys of El Chorrillo, lined with cracked tin roofs and open sewage, held no mercy for the barefoot boy crouched beneath a rusted staircase. His name was Manuel Antonio Noriega. He was 15, motherless, and invisible. He had nothing. No father, no name that meant anything, and certainly no future. But he had something more dangerous than money or muscle. He had memory. And he knew how to listen. Above him, inside a smoke-filled bar for American soldiers, he heard them, laughing, drunk, careless, talking about Cuba, about Castro, about Operation Mongoose, about secrets they thought only men in uniform should know. Manuel wrote nothing down. But he never forgot a word. He understood early that the real power in the world didn't belong to politicians or preachers. It belonged to the men who knew what the others. Manuel joined the Panamanian National Guard at 17. They laughed at him, skinny, sharp-faced, with eyes too quiet for a soldier. But he endured. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the fastest. But he was the most dangerous kind of man. Unremarkable. Watchful. Patient. He earned a scholarship to a military academy in Peru. There, he learned tactics, espionage, and surveillance. While others competed for medals, Noriega studied men. Their habits. Their weaknesses. Their fears. By 1967, the CIA found him. They needed informants in Latin America. Cuba had become a red flag. Nicaragua was heating up. And Panama? A chessboard. They gave him a code name, Asset X-253. A quiet deal was made in a hotel suite in Lima. You report to us. We protect your rise. He accepted. What they didn't know, he would report to others too. Colombia's secret police. Mossad. Even Castro himself on occasion. He wasn't a servant of anyone. He was a broker of fear. Back in Panama, Noriega rose through the military like a shadow under General Omar Torrijos, the charismatic populist who wanted to reclaim the Panama Canal. Torrijos trusted Noriega, but only to a point. He called him El Chacal, the Jackal. In public, Noriega smiled. In private, he recorded everyone. Cabinet meetings, church confessions, private dinners, everything was tapped. Every whisper became leverage. Then, one cloudy afternoon in 1981, Torrijos' private plane exploded mid-air. The investigation was rushed. The black box vanished. The co-pilot had reported engine trouble, but the last words were only static. Noriega took over the military days later. He wept at Torrijos' funeral. Then he took his chair, his files, his kingdom. Some said the CIA helped him do it. Others said he did it alone. Noriega never confirmed either. He only smiled and said, "Panama deserves strong leadership." By 1983, Noriega wasn't just a general, he was the unofficial ruler of Panama. He didn't run for president. He didn't need to. Presidents came and went. Noriega stayed. He wore sunglasses even indoors, gold chains around his neck, and uniforms designed to intimidate. But behind that image was a growing madness. He built El Renacer, a prison that doubled as a torture chamber. He staffed it with soldiers loyal only to him. Anyone who spoke out against the regime, students, priests, labor leaders, disappeared into it. And beneath the palace, in the private wing of his mansion, he kept his other secrets. A voodoo room, with candles, African idols, and painted skulls. Files on every journalist, diplomat, and political rival. Cartel money. Weapons. Gold. In 1984, Noriega received a visitor, a soft-spoken man in a grey linen suit, sent by Pablo Escobar himself. "We need routes," he said. "Safe ones. Through Panama." Noriega didn't blink. He didn't believe in borders. He believed in transactions. The deal was simple. Noriega allowed drug planes to land in Panama. He laundered millions through Panamanian banks. In return, he got cash, protection, and the power of the Medellin cartel behind him. In 1987, a young Panamanian journalist named Cecilia Barria began digging into bank records. She didn't believe Noriega was just a military man. She suspected something darker. She discovered strange wire transfers. Shell companies. American dollars moving in and out of hidden accounts. She published an article, "The Hidden Empire of General Noriega." She begins publishing articles. Noriega responds brutally. Days later her house was ransacked. Her newspaper office is burned. Her brother is kidnapped. Her phone is tapped. But she didn't stop. She fled to Costa Rica with files, ledgers, and tapes. From exile, she leaked everything to the New York Times. The world finally saw it. Noriega was not just a dictator. He was a drug lord. A CIA asset. A man whose hands were soaked in blood and secrets. By 1988, Noriega is too dangerous. Congress demands action. The CIA tries to cut ties. Noriega laughs. He threatens to reveal everything: CIA operations, secret prisons, covert killings. The US indicts him for drug trafficking. But Noriega doesn't run. He declares war on the US. He begins arming civilians, preparing for the worst. The United States turned cold. The CIA denied him. President George H.W. Bush called for his arrest. In December 1989, after Noriega declared himself supreme leader of Panama and allegedly ordered attacks on US troops, America responded. Operation Just Cause began. 20,000 American soldiers invaded Panama. Explosions lit up Panama City. Tanks rolled through the streets. Civilians screamed as the night turned to fire. Noriega fled. He went underground, changing safe houses every night. For 10 days, he became a ghost in the city he once ruled. Finally, he ran to the Vatican embassy. The Americans couldn't touch him there, diplomatic protection. But they had other weapons. They surrounded the embassy. And they began to blare heavy metal music, non-stop, day and night. AC/DC. Guns N' Roses. Metallica. Judas Priest. It echoed through the marble halls. It pierced Noriega's mind. He screamed at the walls. Prayed to the dead. Whispered to mirrors. January 3, 1990. The doors opened. Noriega stepped out, sweating, shaking, dressed in a red robe and dark glasses. He clutched a Bible in one hand. His other hand trembled. The cameras rolled. The silence was deafening. He surrendered. They flew him to the United States. He was charged with drug trafficking, racketeering, money laundering. At the trial, his lawyers asked to unseal CIA documents. The government refused. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Later extradited to France, then to Panama, where he died in 2017. Until his death, he never revealed the full truth. He took the secrets of Operation Condor, the Contra War, the Medellin deals, and the ghosts of Panama to his grave. In El Chorrillo, the slum where he was born, nothing has changed. No statue honors him. No street bears his name. Only the whispers remain. Stories of the man who ruled from the shadows. Who spoke to spirits. Who sold secrets to both angels and devils. He thought he could control the storm. He was a dictator. A drug lord. A ghost who served the world's most powerful governments. In the end, even the devil couldn't trust him. Cecilia Barria once said. But he forgot one thing. The devil always collects his debt. The world has known tyrants. It has known warlords, dealers, spies, and ghosts in uniform. But Manuel Noriega was something else. A man with no country, no allegiance, only leverage. He didn't rise through power. He rose through secrets. For decades, he was the dark thread running through Latin America's blood-stained fabric, stitched into every deal, every lie, every silence. And when the storm finally came for him, no one stood by his side. Not Washington. Not the cartels. Not even the shadows he once served. In the end, Noriega wasn't betrayed. He simply ran out of people left to betray. Today, there's no monument where he fell. No history book tells the full truth. But the jungle remembers. The prisons remember. The whispers remember. Thank you for walking with us through the shadows of history, through power and paranoia, through the rise and fall of Manuel Noriega. In the silence he left behind, one truth remains. Power borrowed from devils always comes with a debt. This has been History in the Shadows, where every truth has its ghost. If you felt the weight of this story, like, share, and subscribe. More untold histories await.